The opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, is transformative, as you must have also heard several CEOs in the past 2 days talk about, but so are the risks: algorithmic bias, governance gaps, regulatory scrutiny, and reputational exposure. So our next session is going to delve a bit deeper into all of these regulatory risks that are currently in place. In fact, boards now cannot really afford to delay these decisions, but must define accountability. In fact, to discuss this and more on this very special panel, can I please request Ms. Amruta Joshi, Managing Director, AI Solutions at Google, to kindly come up on stage. On this panel is also Ms. Prativa Mohapatra, Managing Director of Adobe India, Mr. Ranku Jain, MD, Media Tech India, and they are going to be in discussion with the session chair, Mr. Arvind Gupta. He's the former Chief Executive Officer of MyGov India. Mr. Gupta, may I please request you to kindly walk up on stage? Mr. Ranku Gupta, MD, Media Tech. Mr. Gupta, if you could kindly walk up on stage. Mr. Ranku Gupta, Ms. Prativa Mohapatra, and Ms. Amruta Joshi, the session is all set. All right then, Mr. Gupta, the stage is all yours. Request you to kindly convene the session.
Thank you and good evening. Thank you, organizers, for giving us this opportunity. I know it's going to be a little tough task to match what was the previous session, but from the world of Made in India, Bollywood, we have the world of AI. And when it comes to AI, I have three very leading companies represented here by three very leading leaders who are going to talk about the AI and its impact on the boardroom. So if I can have little attention, that will be good. We have, how many of you know what's going to happen in India next week? AI Summit. So think of this as a very exclusive preview, what we are going to see, and and probably at a much lesser cost of a hotel room, because next week the hotel room is going to be 10x the price of what it is today. So we have three great speakers. We have my very good friend, Managing Director of Adobe India, Prativa Mohapatra. I have Dr. Amruta Joshi, MD of Google Platform Engineering Team, and I have Mr. Ranku Jain, who is also MD of Media Tech. Now, what we have here is not a technical discussion per se. This is a business summit, and it's very important to keep this discussion of the impact of AI in your businesses, in your corporate life, in your boardroom. So, without much ado, Prativa, first question to you, or I can start with you, Amrita, on that side. I just returned from a country which has not a minister for AI, but actually AI as a minister in the cabinet room. And while there could be a little bit of a media hype around it, the real thing is that AI is entering cabinets, AI is entering boardroom discussions. As a board member, I see it being discussed. I don't know how much seriousness it is, but my question to you is, what are the imperatives a board should look at when it decides about AI, adoption of AI, over the next 12 months? And 12 months is a long time in the AI race. So please open it up for us.
Absolutely. So first of all, thank you for having me here. Like Arvind said, this is a little preview of what's coming next week. And it's true. I mean, there is a lot of hype around AI. Everybody is doing all sorts of things with AI. The real question is, what should be a business priority? How should a board really think about it? I would say there would be three major pivots that the board needs to think about. The first one is you need to move from this phase of doing small pilots and experiments to some actual long-term deployment or actual strategy. And for that, it's very important to have not only capital investment, capital allocation at a board level, but also a certain strategy of what are the areas where you're going to plan for growth, business growth, and not just productivity and efficiency. So I would say capital investment in strategic areas for your business would be the first one that you want to look at. You know, the pilot phase is done. You need to move forward into some actual impact. The second one I would say is talent transformation. And this talent transformation is not just for building your next generation AI tools, but even in your day-to-day jobs, the way those jobs are done, they're going to move from the human-led to AI orchestrated, some kind of a human-in-the-loop mechanism. So how are you looking at your talent transformation at every level, at all levels? And then the third thing I would say is just the value governance or value-based governance. There is a lot of compliance conversation. There's a lot of this conversation around what is the EU saying, what does the Indian government saying about responsible AI, and all that is great. But I personally feel that an organization needs to have their own AI values set up very clearly and foundationally. Ideally, you know, we at Google, we set ourselves to a much higher bar than what is required from a compliance point of view. So as an organization, do you just want to be a compliance-oriented AI player, or do you want to actually put it value-based? And I would highly recommend going with a value-based approach. So those would be the three things: a strategic pivot towards capital, talent transformation, and of course the value-based governance.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joshi. We had a script planned. I'm going to go off script. Of course, Bollywood, so I've learned to do that a little bit. Anku, this question is to you. You run MediaTek India, which is a supplier to almost all phones over here, all hardware users use you. We know the Moore's law, and again, not technical. What used to cost us $60 4 years ago is costing us now less than $1. So given what Dr. Joshi just said, that do it now, I'm a boardroom member. My board meeting happens once in 3 months. 6 months, the cost will be half. Why should I do it now? Or should I wait it out and see who is really coming out as a winner and then go on those infrastructure, lock myself in maybe, but whatever else. What's your view on that?
I think everyone would agree that the pace of change for AI is very, very fast. So, I mean, 6 months is very long. Even a month, 1 month wait would be, I would think it is going to, be very incooperative. To have the competitive advantage, one has to get in as soon as possible. And I would agree with her, that the capital expenditure has to be coming from the top. And in this case, the clear ROI is not visible. But I think the most important thing is that people have to get their hands dirty. The employees, I think the mindset of the CEO or the boardroom has to be that provide the platforms, provide the technical tools without worrying too much about what is the ROI from there. And because one has to just get in all in. And if one doesn't do that, then they'll be left behind. So, everyone is talking about how do we increase productivity using AI, and that is actually happening. Although it is not 100% accurate, but I think one has to learn, and the muscle memory has to develop for the employees and for the company. It takes time to do those experiments. So I think one has to do all into this and do the capex, and don't wait for 6 months. Don't wait for even a month, I would say.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. Prativa, to you, we've seen Adobe as a company champion creativity with your tool sets, from Bollywood to large corporates to an individual creator, an influencer, media companies, ET, everybody uses your toolkits. In the AI world, tools will become a commodity. What role does creativity, human understanding of human interaction play when boardrooms decide how do they think about their brands in this new AI world? and their whole positioning as a brand?
Yeah. So again, thank you for having us here. So this is entire debate on human ingenuity and creativity and the role of AI in that. Recently we sort of recasted Adobe's mission as empowering everyone to create, full stop. Because at the end of the day, everyone is creating something. Somebody's creating an idea, somebody's creating an image, somebody's creating a video, somebody's creating a product. So yes, AI is here, but end of the day, humans create, tools don't. Because the original idea of anything will continue to be human beings. So it's very important not to get, too agitated about the power of AI. But yes, I think AI is doing to white-collar jobs what automation did to blue-collar jobs. So the white-collar jobs of a legal professional, a creator, I think the create part of it is getting taken over by tools. But, for example, for a lawyer, right? Maybe the law, everything can be read very easily. But finally, if something is going wrong, the checker, I think the maker is being taken away by AI, but the checker is still going to be there. And I was telling someone, aeroplanes, most of the commercial aircrafts run on autopilot. Actually, pilot is just sitting there doing nothing. But did the profession go away? No. You still need that creative person for that original ignition of the idea, give it to the tool to generate the stuff, and again, to keep on moving to the higher end of the value chain. But yes, in the midst of all of this, for companies to protect their brands, there is a lot of fake, inauthentic things which could come and hit you. Things can be very easily copied, things can be easily hallucinated. So the entire philosophy of what we call content authentication is super, super important. And in fact, there is a big industry body called Content Authentication Initiative, where every piece of creative content that is being created has a watermark. Just like a food has the, ISI mark, or a product has an ISI mark. So there's a watermark in every content. And if you go and look into it, it'll tell you who created it, a human created. Who changed it? Some AI tool changed it. And finally, who is owning it right now? So these are the kind of guardrails which will come into being. And we as Adobe, as a creative company, still believe every human being has something to create. We will give the tools, but we will also give the means to ensure that there is full transparency and there is no misuse of the content. So that's how I would.
No, and I think for those of you looking at or hearing what Prativa just said, three very important things she has said. Humans create, tools don't. And she's given you the formula that while if you are a maker, you are under threat. But if you are a checker, you are not. And if you are somebody who understands the nuances of doing surgery, the robotic arm or the AI will assist you, but not take away your job. So I think that's a very well put statement. Let me just build upon that. And again, this is a big debate going on. About a year ago, we had the DeepSeek moment where, China suddenly got discovered on the AI race. They were always there. And, the American companies got threatened and the world changed. And it will keep changing, right? It will keep changing. My question to you, maybe as Google or as just an AI practitioner, Amruta, is that does it make sense to now really do what is called best of breed for a corporate company, use whatever is the best available for them, or think a stack-wise approach that I want to go with a Google stack or a Microsoft stack or an OpenAI stack or whatever else, Anthropic, which just cost $500 billion of market cap loss to many companies. So what's your take on that?
No, I think this is an excellent question. If you look at AI models, there's a new model coming every week. And there are specialized models coming, there are generalized models, there's progress happening every week. So how do you make a decision about where you want to put your bets? I would say that instead of just betting on individual models, it makes sense to bet towards a platform that actually allows you the flexibility. So if you look at the AI stack, there are various layers. There is the hardware layer where there's GPU, and then Google has a proprietary hardware called TPUs, tensor processing units. After that, there are foundational models, and there's a whole range of foundational models, right from proprietary models as well as open source models. I mean, Google has something called as Google Gemma, Meta has something called Llama. So a lot of options there. After that, there is the adapter layer in the architecture. Even there, you have a lot of choices. So one of the strategy, and this is something I work very closely with customers in terms of advising how to think about your architecture. So one of the things is go with an option that keeps possibilities open. One of the options is actually Google's Vertex AI, where you can use Google Cloud's Vertex AI stack, but you can still use a different open source model away from Google if you want. You can still use NVIDIA's hardware if you want with the same platform. So a platform approach that actually allows you with that flexibility to make choices, different choices for different lines of businesses. It's not even just a time thing. Maybe for your internal efficiency, you need a different kind of setup. And then for your sales goal, you need a different setup. So you need a platform that gives you that flexibility
more
and
like
and that
Android
choice.
versus iOS.
Absolutely.
So you are taking the Android approach versus the iOS approach. Brilliant, brilliant. Can I come to you, Anku? You see companies across the world, India, China, Taiwan, US. How do you rate the adoption today comparatively? If you have to give marks to adoption in Asia, including India, versus Europe versus US, what is your view on that?
I think
enterprise level, not consumer level. India is really using AI a lot, right?
I think the big enterprises adoption does take time. I think this is a very strange situation that we have. That we have so many models coming up. Every week we have something new, and actually enterprises are slow in adopting. So it's kind of an issue for the enterprises. How do we make sure we are ahead of the game? But I think what is really important for the enterprises is that as this tsunami hits us, all this innovations happen in the AI world. How can we keep track with that? How can we innovate faster than that? So that is the biggest challenge that we have. And I would say, if I look at India, Taiwan, our headquarters is in Taiwan. We are very, very focused on, as you said, the platform is available for all the people in the company to experiment on and to see how do we increase efficiency on that. So the awareness is quite high, and I think it's clearly, it is something which I said earlier, that we have to ensure that we get our hands ready to ensure that we have the competitive advantage. But I think the adoption in enterprises is quite similar. I wouldn't say that it is different from geography point of view. But bigger companies definitely have, they really want to focus on this. How do we make it adopt more and more? Yeah.
I have a question for the audience. Just a quick poll. How many of you don't use Google Gemini? Don't use. Means use. How many of you use OpenAI? Only OpenAI. How many of you use Perplexity because it is free? The question was because it is free. So whatever is coming free or bundled for 1 year, it's better right now.
Actually, you can see from the audience that a lot of people haven't used it. So that's why, one really have to, we talk about so much about AI, but we don't realize sometimes in the company that, within our company that
so
people are not.
Adoption in India is very, very high.
Yeah.
How many of you use Claude? Anybody knows Claude here? And how many of you use DeepSeek? Few DeepSeek users. Brilliant. Prativa, I'm going to ask you something probably to close this session. This is, we've talked about adoption. She's given some ideas about what boards should look at. It's a tricky in the sense, boards are generally people who have grown up from the marketing role, In the Western world, and where I have studied, and also a lot of us have worked, there is the CTO is now the CEO, or the CEO is the CTO, vice versa, or the product officer is the CEO, the CPO. Is this something that we can think is going to happen in India, where the CTO at least enters the boardroom, or the CIO enters the boardroom? I really have not seen that move happening. So what's your view on that?
You actually talk of mostly maybe the Bay Area, where most of the companies are tech companies, and in tech companies it happened that way. While in India, we have a lot of other industries. Our tech companies have mostly been tech services companies and not tech product companies. And of course, we have great sectors of banking and what have you. But interestingly, I think every company now has a chief AI officer, and that chief AI officer is the CEO in India.
Brilliant.
4 out of 5 CEOs, and I actually am responsible for the India market. Every customer that we meet today, the CEO is a person who is doing the role of chief AI officer, because that is something which he or she has to have a clear strategy for. And by the way, some companies are creators of AI. Like if I talk to a tech company, they're actually creating AI, either in the infra layer or in the data layer, model layer, or app layer. Some companies, when I talk to a IT services company, they're in this side. And some companies I talk to, they're users of AI, right? A bank, an airline, they're users of AI. But whether it is the CEO of this tech services company or the CEO of the airlines or the bank, in both places, it is the CEO who's sitting up and saying, guys, IT services, I'm the CEO of company X. How do we change our business model because of AI? What new things do we need to do because of AI? How do we stay differentiated because of AI? And the CEO here of this airline industry says, how do we get a new productivity enhancement because of AI? How do I get a new channel of business because of AI? How do I, not that chatbot, but that agent who will be a new channel of sale for me? And how do I improve experience of my end customers using AI? So productivity, revenue, and experience. So both this CEO as well as the creator of the AI CEO, everybody is thinking AI. And today, at least in India, the chief AI officer in 4 out of 5 companies is the CEO. And that's going to remain for the next 6 months this year, till this puzzle or till this mystery is not solved. Of course, in 12 months' time, a lot would have changed. And these creator companies, maybe some of them would have stopped existing, some of them would have merged somewhere, and these companies would have really, the leaders and the laggards would have emerged. I think this 12 months is quite a heady mix in the Indian context.
That's brilliant. And I know our time is up. We have Sundar Pichai from Google next week. We have Shantanu from Adobe next week. And we have Mr. Anku Jain himself from MediaTek next week speaking at the Global AI Impact Summit happening in Delhi. So with that, thank you, the Times Group, for giving us this opportunity to talk about AI and the AI and Boardroom. What is really reassuring is that, that we have the last word from Prativa, where she says the CEO has become the chief AI officer. And if that continues, I think those organizations, the 1 out of 5 are in trouble, the 4 out of 5 are probably safe. Thank you very much.